We are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to LightSaber Radio, the most outrageous show on the web. First and foremost, we got to start off with saying happy pre-Father's Day to all the fathers that's in the that listen to the show. Father's Day is one of the days that we all, you know what I'm saying, as fathers, you know, I know this, that we don't get the appreciation that we should get, you know. Women, you know, mothers and dogs and children, they get unconditional love. We have to work for our love. You know, we got to provide for our fucking special day. So I want to say to all the fathers, happy Father's Day to you guys, man. You guys are great. You guys work your asses off to take care of your families and shit.
Right.
And, you know, take care of your kids. You're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Appreciate being a father, because it's one of the hardest jobs in the fucking world. Yeah, shit. It's fucking hard.
A truly good father is rare and underrated. So, underrated.
And we got to work for it. A lot of people don't realize fathers have to work for being, you know, saying for approval. We have to go to work. We have to provide for our family. If you don't provide for your family and take care of your kids, you're a piece of shit. Mothers don't have to do nothing, and they get love regardless.
Because you gotta. Well, as a father, you got to provide, but you also can't be absent. You have to provide, but you also can't be absent and never see your kids. So it's like
shit. There's mothers that like fucking people try to find their moms, like their fucking moms abandoning them, and they fucking go out of their way to find their moms. You don't ever hear about motherfuckers trying to find their deadbeat motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You got to do something. That's just the way that it is. But it's all right. I appreciate all the fathers in the world. LightSaber Radio, we appreciate all the great fathers that have done great things in our lives, and everybody that's lost a father. Like my dad passed away a couple months ago, which sucks. So Father's Day is kind of hard for me, you know what I'm saying, because I can't call my dad and tell him Happy Father's Day. You know, something that I annually did every year. I made sure I called him. I made sure I went and seen him when I still lived close to him. So, you know what I'm saying, if I want to just give everybody a bit of advice. If your father is still around, make sure that you go see him. Make sure that you call him. Make sure that you tell him how much you appreciate him for all the things that he's done for you. But today's episode is going to kind of be a split. Because of Father's Day, we got to talk about fathers in Star Wars. We're going to have to talk a little bit about that. So Garrison got a housebreaker, and the housebreaker is going to be based on fathers of Star Wars. And then we're going to jump into some ideology. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jedi and the Sith and how they, well, more or less the Jedi, because the Sith has just always been assholes, but how they changed their ideology as they grew from when they first started to where they ended at Order 66. You know, how they kind of changed their philosophies and how they changed the way that they thought. So we're going to go over that topic. Then we're going to get into some news and rumors. And I didn't do a quiz this week. I was just hella busy, so I didn't get a chance to do the quiz. So I thought we would do some heads up.
It's fine. You get a pass.
Yeah, I get a pass. I every once in a while. It's Father's
Day. Heads up. I'm good.
I get a free Father's Day
I'll have
pass.
to grab.
No, but I figured we'd do some heads up.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do some heads up, and you know, we'll just have some fun and joke around a bit at the end, and then we'll get moving on. Which we're gonna have to run this show. This show's gonna have to be over at 2 hours. We gotta stop at 2 hours. I got a brisket and shit I gotta put on and barbecue and shit for, you know what I'm saying, for Father's Day, because everybody's coming to our house for Father's Day this year.
He's cooking the food for Father's Day.
Yeah, I got 2 pork tenderloin. We're about to make some pulled pork, but I'm gonna smoke them. Oh, so I'm gonna smoke them for like 8-10 hours
and just brisket.
Get that. Yeah, boy, it's gonna be fire. Last time I did it for my oldest son's graduation when he graduated high school. We did a ham. We smoked a ham. I smoked a beef brisket and a pork brisket, and we made like sandwiches out. Oh, that shit was so fire, so good. And I haven't done it in a long time. Shit, my son is fucking about to be 24, so you know what I'm saying? You know, he graduated when he was 18, so it's been like 6 years. Darth Akari said, I'm flying out. You flying out to where? J-Dog said, I'm finna eat good today, Kyle. Star Wars team leaders here in the chat. But before we get too far, we gotta jump. We gotta do the intro. What's up? Let's get to the intro.
Let's do it. Yep.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Last we will reveal ourselves.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now in Radio. If you only knew the power
You are now tuned in to LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
Come on, Darth Corey, just get here. You can eat with us. I'd love to have you. Another thing that we wanted to bring up before we get to the Housebreaker and everything else. Me and Garrison, we don't know about you guys, but we had a gang of fun talking about movies last week. I actually went back and watched Warrior, which I don't understand this. I've seen that movie before. I was like, how the fuck did I forget this movie? This movie's great.
I don't know. You forgot an unforgettable movie, Kyle. I'm pretty disappointed.
I forgot about it. Like, because I went back and I'm like, dude, I'm looking for it. And I watched it and I'm like, dude, I've already seen this. This movie is great. Why did I forget this? And then Garrison went and watched Sunset Limited.
And I watched Green Mile.
The Green Mile. And he's like, oh my God, how the hell did I didn't know about these movies? I'm telling everybody, the fucking, that's why Sunset Limited is like my 4th greatest movie of all time.
Sunset Limited, yeah. Everybody should watch it.
But we don't know how you guys feel about this. But we were thinking we might start another channel, you know what I'm saying, another podcast and do movies. We wanted to get you guys' intake. If you guys, that's something that you guys might like to see, you know what I'm saying, that's just talking about all kind of different movies. Here, we're going to stay on Star Wars when it comes to LightSaber Radio. LightSaber Radio ain't going to change. We're going to keep talking about Star Wars. But we thought about doing another one and just talking about different movies, just all kind of different movies. Because, you know, yeah, Star Wars is all, we all love Star Wars. Star Wars is the greatest franchise ever. But there's still a lot of other movies out there that we can talk about.
Other movies.
And, you know what I'm saying, there's so much other stuff. And then, you know, we can do trailer reviews on all the different stuff that's coming out because, you know, Marvel is got to be in my top 5 movies that I love to watch. And it's not even the story. I just like all the action that happens in Marvel because Marvel stories is not all that great. But the action and all that, the CGI, they're killing it on that shit. You can't go past how good they're doing on the CGI and everything. Story's lacking, but you know what I'm saying? It's fun. They're fun to watch. And I went and seen the new Transformers. And I'm just going to tell everybody right now, it's confusing as shit. You're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? That shit was, I was like, what? I want to spoil it for you guys, so I'm not going to tell anybody what happens.
Yeah, that's for the other podcast.
But fucking that shit was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this shit is like, I was all confused. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is just crazy. And I seen the old school cartoon that because it got some, the fucking Planet Eater, whatever, what the fuck, not Galvatron, that's the dude that Megatron became. Whatever the Planet Eater
Transformers?
On Transformers. It has the Planet Eater in there, and like I've seen a cartoon from way back in the day, and none of that shit was the same.
Lord.
None of that shit, I was completely fucking lost. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why did you guys, like, the cartoon was the shit. I thought this shit was going to be based off the cartoon. Yeah, it wasn't. J-Dog said he watched the Spider-Man movie. But yeah, so we thought.
It seems like they would be down for it because.
Yeah, I mean,
J-Dog would watch, Ikari would watch, Star Wars team leader. He said
we thought that it would be just a fun, you know, like spin-off thing that we'll do. And I mean, it wouldn't be like all the time, you know what I'm saying? It's just when we get extra time, we'll just drop a video and we'll send out a notification like a day before, like when we get time, because, you know, as soon as Ahsoka comes in August, you know, Wednesdays is going to be LightSaber Radio again. And then, you know, everything else that comes out for the rest of this year for Star Wars, we got to do LightSaber Radio first. That's the first priority. But we just thought it'd be fun just to drop some movie stuff. And we'll let you guys know what we decide. And Star Wars team leader said Unicron. That's it. Unicron. And then he said he watched The Flash last night. Was The Flash good? I don't know. I don't like The Flash, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like that. To me, The Flash is the TV series. Like, the guy that plays the Flash in the TV series, that's the Flash. This fucking actor that plays Flash in the DC movie, I don't like him, like, as the Flash. He just doesn't, I don't like him, man. He makes me, like, other movies I've seen him in, or other stuff that I've seen him in, he's cool, just not as the Flash. Like, the Flash is the guy that plays it on the TV series. That's who the Flash is. That's just me. And I'm a big Flash TV series guy. I watched all the motherfuckers. I'm mad at them taking the shit off. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I watched all the way up to 8. I haven't watched season 9 yet. Me and my wife we was gonna binge watch it. Because we missed like the first 4 episodes and then we didn't fucking go back and watch them. We was like, we're just going to wait till it's done and then we're just going to binge watch it one day. And we just haven't got to that yet. But I'm going to watch it and it's going to be the shit because I want to know how it turns out. But, yeah, we just thought that it would be a great thing to fucking, you know what I'm saying, just talk about all kind of movies. You know, some trailer reviews, you know, watch some movies, do some watch parties of some movies that you guys might want to watch. Just, you know, something else added to, what's going on, Chris? Just something else to add to the repertoire of stuff. And I think, you know, because we had a lot of fun. You guys were all engaging last week when we was talking about the movies. And then, you know, it gave us an opportunity because, like, you know, I went and watched Warrior. And then, you know what I'm saying, Garrison went and watched, like, he hadn't seen Sunlight or he hadn't seen The Green Mile. Like, how you not seen The Green Mile?
Hey. Come on. I'm just kidding.
Like, dude, The Green Mile is a good movie, too. It's a good movie,
It was way good.
There been some good stories, you know. And, you know, we could do some short film stuff because just to let everybody know, I've sent my stuff off to Sundance, so it's getting reviewed. So hopefully this short film will get some traction, and I'll let you guys all see it once I get everything done, because, you know, they be tripping about putting shit on fucking YouTube and then turn around and putting it at Sundance and shit. They be wanting to kick people out and do all kind of shit, and then distribution-wise, if you can get it distributed or if somebody buy the rights and stuff, oh, you already put it out for free, so we don't want to get it. So when it gets done, when we get all the stuff, actually I send it out to like 300 different film festivals. So I might have to miss some shows too, because, you know, if I got to go fly to Sundance, you know what I'm saying, or Tribeca or Toronto or somewhere for one of the film festivals.
I think we would understand at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not putting that much into it. You know, I did it for fun. It was for fun. It was just, you know, but I'm about to start working on the Star Wars one. That one I'll put out. I'll just put that out. I'm not even going to worry about trying to put that at a film festival or nothing like that. Put that out. So everybody's going to get to see y'all going to see Darth Sway in action. Because the Star Wars short film that I've been playing, I think it's going to be pretty good. I wrote a pretty good.
Darth Sway?
Yeah, Darth Sway's in it.
Nope.
I'm not playing Darth Sway. I got somebody else going to play Darth Sway, but I'm going to be directing and doing all the other shit. You know what I'm saying?
You can do both.
Nah, hey, shit, you know how hard it is. Then I got to get somebody to run the camera and everything. You know how hard it is to find people. I can't even find people to act, let alone run a fucking camera. You know what I'm saying? And they got a whole film school here. And it's like, what the fuck, where are all the filmmakers at? Like, it's weird. I put shit on Facebook. I put it on the Columbia Facebook for the last short film. I put it on the Columbia, the MU Facebook, and on the Columbia City Facebook, and I didn't get one fucking response. Like, dude, nobody, what the fuck? Like yeah, so. But definitely trying to do some exciting shit. We're trying to get a bunch of shit done. I'm working on, right now, I got Sway season 7, 8, 9, and 10 already done. Because I'm not doing news and rumors. We do news and rumors on here. Don't nobody want to hear news and rumors on Sway anymore. So I'm getting rid of all the fluff on that shit. It'll still have we'll still have the quote of the week and the explanation of the quote, because that's helped a lot of people. I've got a lot of email responses to that, you know, and people being like, I started a business because of you and my business is doing great and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's super exciting to see when people do well. So that's going to be in there, but all the news stuff, we're going to keep that over here. Because we do news and rumors over here. Don't nobody need to hear the same shit on Sway. Right. What's going on, Dion? So on Sway, that won't be. It's gonna be. I'm getting right to the books. I got Jeremy Owens. He just read Harvest for me. He just read that for me. And then Jason Odega. He did Fatal Alliance and Annihilation for me. Theodore's got them all set up. All I got to basically do is do my quick little lyrics and then get right to the book. So them 3 seasons is going to be, or 4 seasons, because Deceived comes out at the end of this season. So basically 7, 8, 9, and 10 will be coming out in repetition. And then, so yeah, we got a lot of stuff. And then plus I've been working on Who's Who in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? We've been working on that. We just got a whole bunch of stuff that we're trying to do. We're just trying to give you guys as much Star Wars content as we can. you know, and trying to do a lot of things that, you know, we've been talking about that we haven't been able to get to, you know, just because of just life. Life kind of sucks sometimes, and you just can't get to shit. But we're trying to get as much stuff out as we can this year. So hopefully everything will work out, and it'll be great. So I guess we should probably get to the housebreaker since I've just been fucking talking about all this other shit for 10 minutes. True. All right, let's get to the housebreaker.
All right.
Damn it, you email me. I want you to email me.
Me?
Message me, yes. Message me sometime next week and tell me to fix that shit so the orange don't show up.
Fix that shit so the orange don't show up.
Yeah, don't tell me now. I'm gonna forget 10 minutes from now.
I'll get you. I'll email you. Or I'll message you. All right. In honor of Father's Day, we obviously have to do a Father's Day Hothbreaker. So I propose the question to the jury: who is the worst father in Star Wars? And no, it's not Darth Vader.
I would say Palpatine.
Palpatine or Palpatine's son. Rey was the one that was just left on the Jakku for no reason.
But he was doing it to protect her. You know what I'm saying? He was doing it to protect her because Palpatine was trying to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Palpatine was trying to execute his own son. And technically, is that a son? Is a clone a son? If you clone yourself, but change it up just a little bit.
For sure. We don't even know for sure, really.
Yeah, he was a clone. It's in the book.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah, it's in the
book.
It's in the book. No, the book is that book is fucking canon. Because that book explains how Rey got there.
Well, then Palpatine is a shitty dad. It's Palpatine. It's Rey's dad, whoever that is. Same person.
No, it's not. Well, because they changed the DNA. So he didn't look like Palpatine. And he didn't have force abilities like Palpatine. But they did it in a way that his offspring would have. That's why Rey had the force.
That just sounds like bad writing to me.
Oh, no, it was a great book. But it was just kind of
weird.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. But it was... I don't know. Palpatine was trying to kill him, though.
No, that's a shitty
bad dad.
That's a shitty dad.
Kill your son.
Yeah, and Darth Vader didn't even want to kill Luke at first. He just wanted him to join the dark side.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Join me. We can defeat the Emperor. We'll rule the galaxy as father and son." Dude, that's Dad of the Year right there. I don't know of any other dad who's offered to rule the galaxy with me. Are you kidding me?
Jango Fett. But Jango Fett, that goes back to the clones. You know, he cloned his son. But Boba Fett actually had a daughter. But he didn't know about her, so you can't really blame that on him. When he found out about her, he started actually trying to do that. If you go back to the...
Jango Fett was such a good father to Boba. All the other ones, not really. But that doesn't really count. That's like saying you're a bad father for all the jerk-off sperm you left in toilet paper. That's not the same thing.
Han Solo was a pretty bad dad. He just dropped his son off with Luke and it just fucking flew away in the sunset with Chewbacca. Just kind of abandoned him. Here go the boarding
I'm
school.
going to leave my family. I'm going to leave my family so I can just hang out with my gay Wookiee lover.
If you go to if we're going on extended universe, Luke was a pretty good dad. He was a good dad. He because in the extended universe, Ben is his son, and he did a pretty good job with Ben.
Yeah.
So you can't put Luke in there. Revan was a pretty bad fucking father. He just left his kid before he was even born, and then just fucking went to fucking fight the Emperor and then never came back. His son was dead. Like his great grandchildren were here by the time he came back. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think he ever came back. Because then, if you go off the comic books, then he got killed before he ever even fucking got to go back to the Republic. So
he didn't. He kind of
just abandoned everybody.
He didn't get killed. He didn't get killed. He was like, kind of.
He was a force battery for the Emperor. But then he gets released.
But he didn't do it. He did it to protect his kids.
Yeah, he did it to protect his son. But you still abandoned him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't know that you was going to survive this shit, so you kind of just said, well, fuck, I'm going to go see if I can save you by doing this. And it still didn't work. The Empire still attacked the fucking Republic.
I see what he was going for. I respect it.
Who else is a bad dad? Yeah, Chewie left Lumpy. Chewie's a pretty bad dad. He just left Lumpy and just fucking.
That's true.
Didn't come back for 200 years.
And because of Chewie's badass fathering, we got the flipping holiday special. Thank you, Chewie. Thank you, Chewbacca. God damn.
But you gotta think about it. There's a lot of bad fathers in Star Wars because of George Lucas. George Lucas's relationship with his father.
Daddy issues.
Yeah, dad issues. You gotta think about it. His dad died, never telling him, like, George Lucas was like a fucking millionaire. Had this giant ass franchise and his dad died, never saying he was proud of him. All because he wanted George to fucking run his fucking Office Max. You know what I'm saying? Because that's basically what he owned. He owned an office supply store and he wanted fucking George to fucking run that shit. And George wanted to do it. He wanted to be a filmmaker.
Lucrative business opportunity.
You know what I'm saying? So he like never gave his ass shit. So like there's a lot of dad issues in fucking Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Because of George Lucas. You know what I'm saying? And just what he went through with his father. So I mean, I can see like, but there's also a lot of good dads. I mean, like Boba was a good dad. You gotta think about it. Or Jango was a good dad.
Jango was a good dad, yeah.
Jango was a good dad. Boba was a good dad once he found out. You know what I'm saying? Jabba the Hutt was a good dad. You know, he loved little slime ball, little whatever fuck Anakin and Ahsoka was calling him in the movie.
Yeah. See, so Darth Vader doesn't
all the
seem that bad
Jedi's basically because your Padawan is like your kid.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot of good moms and dads that was Jedi because basically they were like father figures and mother figures. So I think there was more good dads and like people that stepped up and played the role of dads and shit.
Like
in
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan kind of failed.
Or I guess brother. Hey,
good intentions.
He tried his best, dude. He was a good dad. He can't control his kids'
You
choices.
were my brother, Anakin.
I loved it. Yeah, so I guess maybe not dad. Maybe like big brother.
But he still was like a father figure because Anakin says that he was like, you're like the closest thing to a father that I ever had.
Closest thing I had to a father. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to like, there was a lot of good dads. There was a lot of fucking dickhead dads. But I think Palpatine takes the cake. I think really does Palpatine. He tried to kill his fucking son. Actually, he did have his son killed. Like he had his son and his son's girlfriend or wife or whatever you want to call her killed.
And tried to kill his granddaughter.
Yeah, he just fucking killing everybody. He didn't give a shit.
He was just an ass.
I think Palpatine takes the fucking award for the most fucked up dad in Star Wars.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there was I don't know. If you go into the thing that the fucking whatever the spider motherfuckers that was creating ships and shit, that motherfucker used to eat his kids. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and if you go into one of the books, I can't remember which book it is. There's like the fucking Kuat, the spider of Kuat or whatever the fuck that thing was, but it's like a fucking spider looking thing, and it was like these webs. And within this shit in the galaxy, they was making starships for the Empire, and
interesting.
That motherfucker ate all his kids because he didn't want to get overthrown by one of his kids, so he just ate all his kids.
That's fucking fuck. What's his name? Is that Kronos, the god? No, the Titan Kronos, right? He ate Zeus and all those guys, right? No. He ate Poseidon.
No, they all
Yes, he ate his kids.
No, because they beat him. That's how they overthrew him, and that's how Zeus became the king of the gods. Something like that. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yes, it was a Titan. It was.
Kronos is the Titan. He's like the father of all the other gods. But I thought it was
Saturn. Well, that's the Roman
Zeus, god. Hades and Poseidon.
Kronos. Yes.
Overthrew Kronos. They fought him and overthrew him.
And that's what made Zeus the god.
The king of the gods. Something like that. I know something like that. I studied Greek mythology for a while.
Greek mythology, no.
Well,
it's confusing.
Somebody told me, it was like, at one point, somebody told me, I can't remember who it was now, but somebody told me that if you look at the paintings of all the Greek gods, because basically all the Greek gods was based off of this one painter's paintings. And he was painting the different the different stages of God, like the wrath of God, the love of God, and he created all these different people to represent. And that's how Greek mythology came up. And I was like, dude, are you sure? Like, I don't think that's right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even think Christianity was around when the Greeks were in control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was around. It's been around since the beginning of time, but I don't think they were on that same page. But I was like, it kind of makes sense, though, if you like Zeus, the wrath of God, you know, Hades, you know, the Satan, you know what I'm saying? All these different people, you know what I'm saying? I said, kind of makes sense, but I said, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it says, Star Wars team leader says he ate all his kids, but Zeus fed him a rock. Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember. I know, like, studying Greek mythology is fucking crazy. They have some fucking, like, the gods was fucking people and raping women. You want
to talk about daddy issues? You look at Greek mythology. Fuck.
They were just fucking knocking up Hercules and Achilles and all these different fucking people. They were just knocking these motherfuckers
Achilles.
up. Knocking all these women up and then going back to fucking thing and being with their fucking god wife and shit, and then they just fly down to the fucking earth and knock some woman up and then just abandon their kid, show up every great once in a while when they needed some help. Like, oh, you need some help? Here you go, motherfucker. Here goes some child support.
Yep. Daddy issues have been around since the beginning of time.
Shit. What are you talking about? Since Adam and Eve, shit. Fucking Cain killed Abel because Abel
How is that daddy issues?
Because that motherfucker had that, because he was mad at Adam because Adam paid more attention to fucking Abel, so Cain killed him. That was the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? There's been daddy issues since the first people. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's fucking crazy. It really is. But you gotta think about it, you know.
So Palpatine takes the cake.
When you got a dad like George Lucas had, you know what I'm saying, that like the dude died before he ever told George Lucas was a millionaire. They had Star Wars franchise, huge ass franchise, and the dude died and never told his son he was proud of him. That's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't talk for years. Like, George talks about it in a couple of his interviews. He talks about it. He was like, me and my dad didn't talk for years because it was just fucked up. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I guess, you know, and I was talking to my wife about it. Like, my dad didn't ever tell me he loved me till I was grown. Like, the first time he ever told me he loved me, I was a grown man. I was in my 20s. The first time he ever told me he loved me. And I think that's one of the things that, and I love my dad with all my heart, but I think that's one of the things that fucking the world is lacking, that good, hardened love. You know your dad loved you because he took care of you and you did everything you know what I'm saying, you asked him to do, and if you needed help, he was there and everything. But it just wasn't said like that. You didn't go walk around telling everybody, I love you. You just didn't do that shit. And, you know what I'm saying, it made hardened men. Like, that's just how men were back in the days. They didn't express their emotions like that. Now we got men fucking crying on national TV and fucking men becoming women and all kind of crazy shit going on. And then we wonder why the world is failing and shit. The whole world is going to shit. Like, look at the fucking, like, dude, it's crazy. And I guess it all comes down to just, you know, I think a lot of it.
I think it comes down to, like, more and more absent fathers.
That's a big part too. Well, you got to think back in there was a lot of absent fathers back in, you know, the 70s and shit like that because of wars.
Yeah, not as many though. Like, that's increased. And you see like a correlation with like absent fathers. You're more likely to end up in prison, more likely to get into drugs. Like, fathers have a big impact.
I don't know, shit. I look at my kids. I was there for their whole life, and they all fucking screwed up. Like, I think I fucked my kids up being in their life.
I doubt it.
Shit, my kids are spoiled as shit. But now there's I don't know. It's just a lot of things going on. But you know, and I think that's a good reflection in Star Wars to show us that, like, to show people that everybody has problems. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes through situations. It's hope overcoming, you know what I'm saying, being able to rely on the people that, you know, are your friends. And because you got to think, how many times in your life did you have a problem and you couldn't go to your parents? You know, you couldn't go to your dad and talk to him, and you went to one of your friends and they helped you out. So it's all about, you know what I'm saying, you know, found family and hope and everything. You know, that every situation is not great. You gotta push through that. You know what I'm saying? You can't give up. You gotta keep pushing forward. There's gonna be obstacles, and daddy issues might be one of those obstacles. Mommy issues. But there's a lot of fucked up things going on in the world. There really is. Because when you be like, I be watching some of these specials and shit on TV, man. Fucking like, dude, like people raping kids went up like fucking 30%. Like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? Like,
Seriously.
who the fuck even thinks about that shit? You know, men beating women, like, even though the fucking, like, you go to prison, like, most men are in prison right now for beating their wives or beating their girlfriend up or some shit. Like, a major majority. It's like fucking crazy. It was like 49% of fucking men have hit their women. Like, holy fuck, are you serious? Like, Jesus, fuck, that's a lot. And it's just, I just think, but that's why we need Star Wars. That's why we need Star Wars. That's why we need movies. Instead of getting mad, just go watch a movie. Go watch Star Wars. You know, shit, it could be worse. Your dad could be out here trying to chop your hand off and shit and fucking kill you. And, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It could be a lot worse.
All right.
So,
do we get to?
We should get to the next part. The next part. Okay, so
I like Star Wars Team Leader. Hold on. My dad always said I love you as I got my ass beat. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't spank you. Yeah,
I'll say that to my kids though. I can't lie.
I didn't love you, I wouldn't spank you.
You know what I hated? I hated when my parents used to say, "This hurt me more than it hurt you."
I
you are beating my ass right now. How the fuck is that hurting you more than it's hurting me? And then as I got older, when I had to whoop my kids, which I didn't whoop my kids very often, I don't know. I didn't see the fucking. I mean, I whooped my kids. Don't get me wrong, but I just didn't do that very. I had open ranks. Open ranks is the shit. You want to do some fucked up shit? Make your kids stand there with the arms out like this for 10 minutes. That shit is way worse to get an ass whooping. But like, I don't know. I couldn't, like, I just didn't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? Both my wives whooped the fucking kids. My ex-wife and my wife, they beat the shit out of kids. But I couldn't do it. I'm a big ass pushover because I really felt bad. Like, I felt terrible after I whooped my kids. Like, I felt like a piece of shit. And I wouldn't even whoop them hard. I'd be like, just like a little spanking, a little pop on the ass. And I feel like a dirt ball, like you're a bad father and shit. So I just didn't like doing it, so I didn't do it. That's probably why my kids fucking just talk to me any fucking way they want to talk crazy to me now, because I didn't fuck their ass up enough when they was little. But it is what it is. You know, there's daddy issues. But that's why we need Star Wars. Now let's get to, and one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this subject, because with the new movie coming out, Dawn of the Jedi, this is taking it back to the very beginning of the Jedi. And there's a book called Dawn of the Jedi. And in that book, the Jedi don't even have lightsabers yet. They got swords made by a special sword crafter dude. I can't remember what his name is. But their philosophy at the beginning of the Jedi Order was about balance. It was Ashla and Bogan, and there was a balance in the Force. They never got too far to the dark side. They never got too far in the light side. They stayed right in the middle. Right. By the time Order 66 gets around, the dark side is just pure evil. There is no balance. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on the light side. You got to be this, perfect, follow every single rule that the Jedi Order has ever came to be, or you were just a piece of shit. So where did this philosophy change along the way? Now, a lot of people, I kind of put this subject out there on one of the chats and just kind of seen what people said. And it was basically if you listen to Dawn of the Jedi book, or you read Dawn of the Jedi book, at the end of the book, something's coming and they don't know what it is. And it's something bad. So and it never really explains what it is. I'm thinking it's the Sith. You know what I'm saying? The actual species of Sith is showing up. What we know, the species of Sith was already around because there was a couple of Jedi that were from the Sith species in the book. they were like Jedi masters, but they were like the Sith species, red, you know, the tentacles on their face, red demon-looking things. But there were a couple of Jedis that were actually Sith, and they were called Jedi, or however they say that shit, however you say it. So, but I think the evil Sith showed up. And I think there was a point where the balance wasn't working no more. So they had to come up with a different philosophy. And I think that's where it really changed. But I think throughout time, like anytime like somebody turned to the dark side, they came up with a rule. Because it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
It makes
More
sense.
rules.
Like, okay, somebody fell in love with somebody and then they turned in, so now you can't have attachments. You know what I'm saying? They turned to the dark side because of love. So, you know what I'm saying? They you know,
whenever
can't have attachments no more.
Whenever
no more
something happened, they're like, "Oh, here's another rule. Oh, here's another rule."
But what I don't understand, I still don't get that, because what is it? One of the Jedi's on the council got like 10 wives and had a bunch of kids. So it's like, dude, how is it okay for this dude to do it, but not okay for this other person to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a great question.
I don't get it.
Dude, I don't get it either. Flipping Kiandi Mundi needs to keep it in his pants, the fucking horn dog. You okay, Kyle?
No. Tori just messaged me and said that CJ got called into work, so he couldn't make it today. And then she's, I think she's dealing because she's put her truck. She got a really nice, like 72 truck, and she's been putting it in the car. Well, I guess she's been a part of this car club, and they got car shows or whatever. At least from what I seen on Facebook. So she's not being able to make it. So, yeah, prior engagements. But there's, you know, it makes you think. And it's like, if you have rules, then everybody should have to follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get why the Jedi created all these rules, but it only applies to certain...
Yeah, dude. That's one of the things that's always bugged me about that lore is like, why can he have flipping multiple wives? Anakin can't even have one.
Because I think the lying and the deceit and the hiding and everything pushes people to the dark side. You know, I think that's one of the key elements that helped Anakin get pushed to the dark side, because he's already lying. He's being dishonest, which is something that we would consider wrong. Something that the Jedi, I'm pretty sure, would consider wrong if they're supposed to be this righteous clan of, you know, whatever they are. If this is the way that they are, and you're going against that, that's what turns people to the dark side. So he's already being dishonest. He's hiding shit. He's being secretive. So it's not that hard to push him to the limit. And I think that if they was like, dude, because Brevin had a wife, you know what I'm saying? He had a kid, which he kind of left the fucking order at this point, you know. But there's been other people that's had wives and kids. One of the members of the Jedi Council got multiple wives. I think it was a
Keanu Mooney, right? Or is it Plo Koon?
No, it's not Plo Koon.
It's Keanu
I can't remember which one it was. But he got like 10 wives and all these kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, dude, and he can't have one wife? Like, wouldn't it be better to nurture the situation and, you know what I'm saying, talk about the situation and fix the situation instead of having somebody trying to hide it from it because you'll be kicked out of the order because of it? Like, it just doesn't seem fair. And, you know, if you go back to the balance thing that they started from, you know, I think all the rules that changed them to this light side, that could only be the light side, was the rules. It wasn't about balance anymore. It was about these rules. You can't have no attachments, no jealousy, no anger, no, you know, like, dude, these is like natural. Anger is a natural response. If you're anybody, you get angry about things. It's okay to be angry. It's how you deal with the anger that is like the key thing. Now, if you're a Jedi and you get angry and you start whacking people's heads off like, Anakin did, yeah, you might be a candidate for the dark side. You killed a bunch of kids and, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you killed all the sand people. You might be Yoda might want to sit down and have a good discussion with you. But you can't come to them and tell them that you did this because it's wrong.
Right.
So how are you going to get help? It's just like people nowadays, you know what I'm saying, they get criticized for having mental problems. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they got a mental thing. They get criticized. They get put down for it. So why are they going to go ask anybody for help?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why? If somebody's just going to put me down. Instead of nurturing the situation and trying to help somebody, they kind of like, you can't do that. If you're like that, you're a bad person. You're evil. You're a dark side user. You know what I'm saying? They kind of just put them in that, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, these is natural responses. Anger is a natural response to, somebody pissing you off. You know what I'm saying? You react in anger. And most of the time when it comes to, anger issues or, mental issues, a lot of times it's just age. As you get older, you start learning how to deal with these situations because you're going through different situations and you learn. But when you got Anakin's, 20-something years old, and, you know what I'm saying, he's hiding all this stuff. He has all this built up anger. He has this remorse for missing his mom passing away, him not being there, all these things. And all they said is, he goes and sits down with Yoda and Yoda gives him the spill. This leads to the dark side. You can't do that. Like, well, you're not helping him in the situation.
100%. Well, I think it shows kind of because the Jedi before were all about balance. Like attachments like marriage, something was okay as long as you kept it under control. You didn't lose your shit. You didn't get consumed with the attachment where you were willing to do dark side shit just to keep the attachment. You know what I mean? It was all about balance. And so I think it shows a good kind of parallel to real life. Like just because you're adding more rules doesn't make you better.
Yeah.
I understand. Don't be too attached, but that doesn't mean you outlaw attachments altogether. You know what I mean? I understand. Stay away from the dark side, but that doesn't mean you make a rule for every single thing that could possibly lead you to the dark side.
That philosophy of attachment is stupid anyway, because damn near every master gets attached to their Padawan. The Padawans get attached
attachment
to their masters.
Is a good thing. It's just,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, attachment is a good thing. It's just allowing that attachment to turn you to the dark side.
Yeah.
Or allowing that attachment to consume every part of you until you can't handle the loss or whatever. You know what I mean? It's the fear of loss, I think, was the main problem.
Yeah.
But instead, they're like, oh, just no attachments.
Because they try to eliminate the problem before the problem happens. It's like, let's bomb this country because, they might attack us.
Right.
Let's eliminate the problem before it ever becomes a problem. Like, you don't know that that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So your philosophy of balance and being all that, it just got manipulated throughout time with all these rules and stipulations. And I think that, and this is just my, this is all basically my personal opinion on this, but I think that the Jedi just got to a point where you're no longer you turn into a cult instead of a real, something that was really helping the galaxy, because you're dictating to people what they can and cannot do. You know what I'm saying? You're dictating, maybe not to the whole galaxy, but at least to the people within the order.
Right.
You don't solve problems with more rules. You know what I'm saying? You solve problems with attacking the problem and then creating rules based on the problem, not by creating rules to deal with the problem. The problem is still going to remain because now you're just going to have people hiding because of the rules. Just like crime in the world. You know what I'm saying? We got all these laws, so it doesn't stop the laws from getting broken. It just makes people fucking more crafty about how they break the laws to try to get around getting caught. And that's all Anakin did. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, we gotta lie. We gotta do this. We gotta, hide. We gotta. Should just be honest. I'm in love with Padme. I'm gonna marry Padme. If y'all want me to kick me out of order for that shit, then kick me out of order. He would have probably been better off if he'd have left the fucking order, because him and Padme could have just went and fucking had a family and just lived and fucking he'd have just left. But I don't think Padme would have left. That was another bad thing, because Padme wouldn't. I don't think she would have gave up being a fucking senator.
You don't think so?
Liked it. I don't think she would have done it.
I think at the end of episode 3, I think she would have. Episode 2, maybe not, but I think so.
At the end of the episode, because she was like, just come away with me. We'll go to Naboo. We'll go to the beach. We'll just get away from everything. But is that something that would have maintained, or would she'd been like, the galaxy's fucked up, I need to go fight, I need to be a politician? Because that was her life. You know, her life was being a politician. It's hard to give up your life, even if it's for a loved one.
I just think what probably would have happened, let's just say Anakin and Padme did happen to run away. Here's a little what if here. If they did happen to run away, Palpatine still probably would have risen to power and become emperor.
I think Palpatine would have sucked out. He would have sent motherfuckers to find Anakin. Because he wanted Anakin, if we go off the basis that Anakin was created by the Force.
And he was the perfect host.
And he wanted Anakin to be his apprentice. That was like the whole purpose of the creation of Anakin by,
I still think to this day, Anakin was created to be the perfect host for Plagueis or Palpatine, like to transfer their conscious into. You know what I mean?
Possible.
We already know Palpatine was creating clones so that he could live forever. I think Anakin, because he had the highest midichlorian count, he was going to be the perfect, like, physical, natural host. And with Palpatine's brains and like Anakin's host body, best Force user of all time. You know what I mean? I think that's why. I still think that's my theory. That's why Anakin was created.
Because once Anakin got messed up and became Vader,
and so that's why they wanted
his body screwed up.
And so that's why he wanted Luke to join the dark side, because Luke was now the next best thing.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely a good philosophy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's possible. Plagueis might have been making them for him, because Plagueis was fucking, he already did a bunch of shit, so he lived for fucking way longer than he was supposed to.
Yeah.
So I could see that but we don't know if fucking Plagueis, we don't know if Plagueis was Bane. We still don't know if Bane just kept doing acid transfer all the time. It's never really proven that, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it's just, my thing is this. Bane had a plan, right? There's been a gang of super dope ass Force users. There was dark side users after Bane, after Xana, and none of them ever really tried to take over. They just kept putting things in place for fucking 1,000 years before Palpatine finally took over. And so it's like, dude, if you was planning this, like, that's just smart, because I can't believe that not one of these Sith Lords before that did not try to take over. None of them tried to take over, all the way up till fucking Plagueis. Plagueis was his plan. Palpatine, he went on with the plan that Plagueis had already put into place. So it just makes sense that it was Bane the whole time. Now, Palpatine, I don't think it was Bane, for the simple fact of Plagueis was asleep when Palpatine killed him. And so that means, he couldn't do the essence transfer. He was asleep. He wasn't awake for it to happen. Not to say that the Force couldn't have told him that and he was fake being asleep and then he did the essence transfer. I mean, that's always a possibility. But I think Palpatine was not Bane. But I think all the way up to Plagueis might have been Bane. If you go back and you read the book, a lot of the things that a lot of these different Sith Lords did they just seemed like they were Bane. You know what I'm saying? The way they reacted to things, the way they did things.
I just think, well, that kind of reflects how the Sith philosophy changed. You know what I mean? Because you had Bane was like the founder of this new Sith philosophy. We're talking about the Jedi changing. The Sith were very much like, before Bane came along, it was all these Sith clamoring for power, constantly fighting each other, then trying to figure out ways to not fight each other. And Bane figured out, like, okay, the Sith is the dark side's selfish. So there's no use having all these other Sith. Let's focus on one to embody the Force, one to crave it. You know what I mean? And so he just completely rewrote the rules for the Sith, where it's not these giant armies. It's the manipulation. It's the subtlety. It's the master plan. It's the becoming powerful. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it was all these, he just rewrote the Sith. So I don't think it was necessarily, it could have been Bane, but I just think it shows how much he influenced the Sith as an organization or as a philosophy.
Star Wars team leader said if he was Bane, he would have lied about killing him in his sleep. Maybe he switched the story and Palpatine was the one really asleep. That's possible. Like he had already switched. And then he killed Palpatine because he was like, you asshole, you was trying to
But
kill
at the
me.
same thing, in the story, you got to think about it. The whole idea is one to embody the power and one to crave it. In the story, if he would have said, I'm Bane, nobody's ever killed me, it's impossible to kill me, I've lived for thousands of years.
It would have been 1,000 years.
Yeah, Anakin, there's no way Anakin could have like craved the power because he would have been like, I can't beat this guy. So he needs to give him a little sliver of hope, like, nah, it's possible. You can defeat me, so that he can really crave the power, so that he thinks it's possible, so that he really surrenders to the dark side. Because if he just tells him, hey, there's no chance, I'm the greatest of all time, not as much of a chance that somebody's going to crave that.
Also, you got to think about it too, because only reason I say that Palpatine killed Plagueis and Plagueis was Bane because Palpatine didn't follow the rule of two. Palpatine got, you know what I'm saying, at first he just had Darth Maul. Then when Darth Maul got killed, then he got Count Dooku. Then Count Dooku had an apprentice. So that defeats the rule of two at that point. You know what I'm saying? The rule of two is only supposed to be two. Then, you know what I'm saying, when Vader became his apprentice, then Vader had Inquisitors and Vader took on an apprentice, and you know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason I don't think, if Bane had been the rule of two all the way up to Plagueis, or even to Palpatine, if Palpatine was Bane, he would not have been able to, you know what I'm saying, he'd been doing the rule of two for 1,000 years. He done got into power because of the rule of two. He wouldn't have changed that. That's why I said, I think if Bane did survive all the way to Plagueis, it was actually Plagueis that was asleep. And when Palpatine killed him, and then Palpatine was like, all that bullshit, it's about control. It's about me ruling. I don't give a fuck how many of us there is. We can have fucking Inquisitors and fucking all kind of shit. I'm taking over, whatever the fuck I got to do. Because he allowed Count Dooku to get Ventress and Savage. You know what I'm saying? When he took Savage on as apprentice after he kicked fucking Ventress out. You know what I'm saying?
But escaped. I think it was more he allowed Dooku to take him because they weren't actual Sith. They were assassins. They were means to an end. They were never going to be taught the dark side. They were never going to be
taught. Well,
not the full potential though. Not like Palpatine knew. I think Palpatine allowed, like, sure, Dooku, you can have your little toys because they can do jobs for us, not because we actually are going to be teaching them. Not because they're actually ever going to be full Sith.
Oh, thanks for the super sticker, man. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Bodie.
But I think there's, you know, I don't know, man, because I just don't think he was Bane. Palpatine didn't act like Bane. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Everybody else, if you go back and you listen to the Plagueis book, Bane's biggest fear, he fell to the just like Palpatine said, the biggest fear of the Sith is to lose their power. And when Bane's hand was trembling and he started going through, like, he knew that something was wrong, that's when he started looking into how can he live. He was like, can't nobody be as good as me. Xana's not as good as me. She ain't even, it's been 20 years. She's going to let me die of old age before she's going to try to face me to take over the mantle. That's not what the Sith is about, the strength. So, and if you listen to the Plagueis book, Plagueis was trying to figure out how to live forever. You know what I'm saying? His whole thing was about, you know what I'm saying, living forever. Like, and you go back, Xana tried to live forever, which there was really no book on Xana. But then everybody had this thing about living forever. Now, all they could do is jump bodies, but why not find a body that you could be in forever? Plagueis, that's what he was working on. Plagueis was working on using the Force to live forever. I think that's what Anakin
was. I think that's what Anakin was. Anakin was that perfect host
and
to
I think,
not only live forever, but be powerful too.
And then I think when it came to the point, when you get all the way up to the point of, you know what I'm saying, when Palpatine, he didn't act like that. He acted like he wanted to live forever, but he wasn't worried about, he was more worried about and being in control, ruling. Everybody else was that was like their final destination, but everybody else was like, how can I live forever so I make sure I'm the next one too? I'm going to be the one that rules forever. Palpatine just didn't act like that. And then they kind of implemented that shit when they went into the sequel trilogy, because in here Palpatine's still alive. He's been creating all these clones, and now he finally found his granddaughter, and he wants her to kill him, strike him down, and then, you know what I'm saying, he embody her, you know what I'm saying, and become this powerful, you know what I'm saying, she'll become the powerful. But if she'd have struck him down, I think he was going to try to do the essence transfer, because I'm pretty sure the Plagueis taught it to him. You know what I'm saying? Or he learned it through all the books that, you know, that's been passed down in the holocrons that's been passed down throughout time.
Yeah, I think Palpatine had definitely learned it. I think that's why he kept trying to get, like, Luke to, like, strike me down. And strike me down. You know what I mean? He's always trying to get people to come to the dark side. And I don't think it's because he's obsessed with an apprentice. I think it's because once they come to the dark side, he can control them and he can possess them, if you will.
I don't know. It's just a hard, like, I think that's one of the best things about Star Wars, is because we're always left in the dark about little things. We don't really know. So it gives us the ability to use our imagination and think about, these are some of the what ifs that could have been. And I think that's what makes it so much fun. And with the philosophies, like, dude, if you just like, and honestly, that's the truth, because the Sith Bane changed the philosophy of the Sith. Before it was just about letting fucking whoever's the most powerful is in control. You know what I'm saying? And then the Emperor was in control for the longest time until he finally was taken out by his kids. And then, you know, saying it went down, and then the next person was in control, and then they got kicked out, and, you know, somebody was stronger and stronger, and they got beat, or sometimes it took, you know, 10 Sith to take down one Sith and to become control. And that's what Bane was like. One of Bane's sayings was, you know, two apprentices would join together and take down the master, and it was weakening the order.
Right.
So he changed the entire philosophy. But then when we get to Palpatine in a sense changed the philosophy too, because he allowed other people to be trained in the dark side. And even if you go by the books, because the hands of the Emperor, which was what Luke's wife was, you know what I'm saying, Mara Jade was one of the hands of the Emperor. She was a dark side force. She was a disciple of Sidious. A disciple of Sidious is how it's explained in the book. It's just an apprentice. It's another word for an apprentice. So he didn't follow the order. He didn't follow the rule of two. That's why I don't think Palpatine was Bane. That's my biggest argument, because Bane always followed the rule of two. He created it, he followed it to a T. Other than, you know what I'm saying, he lived forever because he just kept doing essence transfer into other people. Right. You know what I'm saying? But he just kept getting stronger then. You're gaining the abilities of whatever person that you took over. So you're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So, you know what I'm saying, there was still two people at all times. There was a master and the apprentice. He just had never allowed the apprentice to get strong enough to take him over, because he kept taking them over, you know what I'm saying, to take the mantle until Palpatine. And I think when Palpatine did it, Plagueis was dead, or Plagueis was asleep. Palpatine killed him, but Palpatine already knew all the information. That's why he was able to do essence transfer into the different clone bodies until, you know what I'm saying, he had a chance to take over Rey. And then when, like he said, you strike me down, he was going to go into her, and she was going to be the fucking queen of the Sith, or whatever, the fucking empress. And I think that was his ultimate goal. And I agree with you. He was looking for the next person that he could take over and just keep the whole thing that had been going on for 1,000 years, keep it going. I just don't think it was Bane. Palpatine did it a different way. Palpatine acted differently than Bane's philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Which it could have changed. You know, that's fucking 1,000 years. That shit was 10,000 years before BBY. It was like 1,024 BBY when Bane was in Bane's time period. So, you know, we was at 32 BBY when Palpatine came into the picture. So, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the actual timeline is. Is it BBY or ABY? However you say it.
BBY? I don't know.
After, you know what I'm saying, that Palpatine truly came into power. So, you know what I'm saying, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things that's like, it just, he was a different person. But I think that philosophy of the Sith changed again when Palpatine took over. But Palpatine took over, you got to realize that when Palpatine took over, everything was already in place for him to become, like, all these little things, like the Clone Wars or the clones being created. That happened, 20 years before that? You know what I'm saying? That the clones were created. So, you know, we know at that point that Plagueis was still around. So Plagueis was getting all this stuff set up for the actual takeover. Palpatine killed him, and then he just fulfilled the plan, and then he took over, and he became the Emperor.
Right.
And I think his philosophy changed once he became the Emperor. It was all about, fuck that, we're going to just take over the entire galaxy, we're going to turn everybody into slaves, and we're going to kill all the Jedi. So can't nobody stop us. Hey, let's go. And that's exactly what he did. So I think the philosophy of the Sith changed again when Palpatine became the head person for the Sith. He became the master of the Sith. And then the Jedi, I think they just, like, I don't think so much their philosophy changed as much. I think their philosophy changed from the balance to, you know, you have to be from the light side. But I think it wasn't so much the philosophy. I think that every time somebody turned to the dark side, they kind of looked back at it and said, what caused this to happen? Let's make a rule. You can't have no attachments. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this person did this. You can't do that no more. And then they just made all these rules. Not so much that their philosophy changed again. They just made a bunch of rules all the way up until Order 66. And then after that, I think Obi-Wan and Yoda changed. I think they were listening to Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon was telling them, hey, man, you got to get back to, you know what I'm saying, you got to get back to the balance type thing.
I think they learned more from, like, their mistakes, I think.
Yeah, and I think their philosophy changed again. Now, the other Jedi were just out there trying to survive and not get killed by Vader and the Inquisitors. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you look at Rebels, Kanan's philosophy was still Jedi, but they was teaching something different, because especially when he started talking to the Bendu. You know what I'm saying? The Bendu, his philosophy was more of a balance of the Force. It wasn't no good or dark. There was none of that. It was just the Force. And he was kind of explaining that to Kanan. I think Kanan was kind of, you know, he was always going to be more to the light side, but I think he looked at things a little bit differently, because he would get angry. He got mad at Ezra for, you know, not paying attention and not listening, and, you know what I'm saying, and he would yell, and, you know what I'm saying, I think his philosophy changed, but I think you change your philosophy because of your situation too. Right. If you're in a bad situation, you're going to change. You can't be, you could be the most devout Christian in the world, but you put them in a room full of Muslims, and, you know what I'm saying, after a minute, it's like, dude, he's gonna get angry because they're telling him something totally different. They're getting on to him about everything. You're wrong. You're wrong. You keep hearing that. Sooner or later, you're gonna get angry. So technically, even if you're a person that's teaching love, faith, and happiness, and just love and all this, you're gonna get angry. So I think that your situation also changes your philosophy on the way you look at things. You know, I think that it's just the reality of the situation. There's no way around it. You know, you put a cop in prison, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be worried about justice. He's going to be worried about surviving. You know what I'm saying? And if he got to kill somebody to survive, he's going to do that. Even though their whole career, they're tied in killing is the very last resort. But you're in prison now. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to kill somebody or you're going to die. You know what I'm saying? His philosophy is going to change because of his circumstance. And I think that's basically what happened to the Jedi and the Sith. You know, circumstances changed. The galaxy changed. And then you got to think about it. Go ahead. No.
Well, I think you're right. Like, the Jedi, because they were so scared of the dark side, went so super strict, and then realized and kind of learned from their mistakes. So that's why I think kind of in the original trilogy, you see Yoda and Obi-Wan change, and they back off a little bit, and they allow a little bit more emotion, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think, they do adapt a lot. I think the more rules that they put in is it weaken the Jedi
That's kind of
in a way.
that's another reason I'm kind of excited to see where the new series or the new movie comes out of how Rey reacts to everything. Like how did did
what
she
kind of
train?
Jedi is she?
Yeah, what kind of Jedi? She's gonna be more of a balance. She got a yellow lightsaber. She's more of that gray, that balance, because the gray Jedi is more of a balanced Jedi. You know, they use the dark and the light. Is she gonna be more like that, or is she gonna be more, you know what I'm saying, like try to follow what? Because even Yoda at the end of the sequel, he was like, "What the hell is in books? Them is books." You learn from your experiences. You know, his whole philosophy had
You
changed.
learn from listening to the Force.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He adapts and changes and
he
flows.
he changed. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And you got Luke, he just fell off the deep end. He just completely just gave up on the Force.
Oh, that still bugs me.
I know it's
Don't
but
talk
that's the way
about
the
it.
story is right
Don't
now.
talk about it.
So how is Rey gonna react to it? Like, and I'm kind of excited to see it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hope that it's gonna be good. And I'm excited to see who is Rey? How does Rey take on being the only, you know what I'm saying, master at this point? Because everybody else is dead. She's the only one. So did they know about? You know what I'm saying? So like, but is Ahsoka survive all this? And did she meet Ahsoka? Like, there's so many possibilities of things that they could do. You know what I'm saying? Because we know Ahsoka's good at hiding. You know, Ahsoka could have been in the background this whole time, you know what I'm saying, giving Leia advice or doing whatever, waiting, biding her time, you know what I'm saying, waiting to show up and because we don't know until after the series is over on what's going to happen with Ahsoka. We know that, you know, at some point we got the new movie, Dave's new movie where they all meet together, where all the series come into... so it's a lot of stuff going on, and we don't know how they're gonna portray it. But it's intriguing to me. I am kind of scared because we haven't had the best results when it came to Disney doing stuff. But it is intriguing to me because I want to know, like, what kind of Jedi is Rey gonna be? You know what I'm saying? What kind of person is? You know what I'm saying? Did like, are we gonna find out that Hera had a kid? You know what I'm saying, with Kanan? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to find out, are they going to make that a reality, or is that just a rumor that was floating around? Because that's something that's been going around, and I think that's something that could possibly pop up and Rey's training him. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the situation may be. So it's like, there's so many possibilities. That's what keeps me excited. My imagination keeps me excited about what could happen. I don't know until they do it. But I think that's what the most intriguing part is like what could happen. And because philosophies change. She might come out and be like, dude, she might not be teaching like the Jedi text.
She might turn evil.
I don't think she,
no, Disney wouldn't make Disney. I'll make this call
Jedi
right now.
An evil person.
Disney would never have Rey become like Luke. She's too precious to them. They didn't care about Luke. So Luke is okay. Luke can fall apart and get discouraged and become a bum. Rey is like the perfect little Disney child.
Well, you got to think about it. You go back and you look at most of Disney's adventures. You have Cinderella, you got Snow White, you got Pocahontas, you got all these female characters, even though they've been said that, you know, they've been pushed that they're more male chauvinist. Like, dude, what the hell? Most of their characters is girls. What are you talking about? It's been that way since the beginning of time. And I think now this is their Star Wars princess. You know what I'm saying? That's who
and
Rey
she's
is going to
be perfect. There's not going to be anything.
So they're
going to
make sure that she's, and I have no problem with that because that shit's worked for them for years. And like all their movies that has to do with, you know, the Disney princesses have all been good. You know, they've all been good stories. So, but if they can keep to the story and write an actual story, it might be good. I don't know. I kind of want to see Daisy Ridley again. I don't know. I kind of been missing Daisy. Daisy.
Wow. I never thought I'd hear that from you, Kyle.
I mean, I'm still not going to say that the sequel trilogy was kind of good or was good. But I kind of been missing Daisy Ridley. You know what I'm saying? I appreciated her acting skills. She didn't do that bad You know what I'm saying? As an actor, I don't think she did. I think she played the part very well, and I want to see where it goes. Like, because it can at this point, it's a blank slate. They can go any direction that they want with this. You know, and I think that's a good place to be at, because them trying to recreate characters in the way that they want to do it has been failing extremely bad. You know what I'm saying? So, because we see that with Kenobi and Boba Fett. This is a character that they kind of started off with bad because they just remade stories. But I think that they have an open slate right now. They can take it in any way that they want to. I mean, she could restart the Jedi Order. She could go off and be just a lone Jedi that's just helping in the galaxy. They could, you know, there's a lot of different places they could take it.
I don't know. I just haven't really liked any of the characters that Disney's really made. But like, every time you see potential in a character, they kill it. Like, I haven't seen a character. Hold on. I haven't seen a character that Disney's made besides Mando that I've really liked.
You didn't like Cinderella?
I'm talking about modern Disney. Modern Disney.
Modern like Disney. Snow White when you was a kid.
No. Modern Disney is a very different Disney than what Disney used to be. Think about all the
a lot of that has
characters.
to do with the writers. A lot of the writers that wrote the really good stories back in the day, they're all dead now. So,
well, no. Half the writers that made those, like Cinderella, that's not a Disney story. They ripped it off. Snow White, that's not a Disney story. They ripped it off. Little Mermaid, not a Disney story. All the stories they ripped off.
Shit, all the greatest creators rip off shit. Look at fucking Quentin Tarantino.
I'm aware. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Like, he made some of the greatest movies ever, and he ripped them off of other movies.
I know.
You know?
But look at modern Disney. Modern Disney, all the characters that modern Disney has come up with, besides maybe Mando, have just ended up falling flat. Finn, so much potential. Kind of crashed. Wasn't a fan of the character. Rey, kind of crashed. Wasn't a big fan of the character.
Finn wasn't a bad character. They just took him in a wrong direction. You know, you can't introduce this person as the Force user in the beginning of the movie and then him not be the Force user. It's like you ruined it.
Exactly. So my point stands.
Like, he got a sense, like in the very beginning of The Force Awakens, they're standing there with the gun. You see the Force wash over him. He's in his suit, but you see it wash over him and him not pull the trigger. That was the Force. And then you don't give him no Force ability for 3 movies. Like, dude, you just ruined the character. About. But Poe was a great character. You can't say Poe wasn't a great character.
True. Poe was
a great character.
Poe was better.
And Rey was not a bad character. It was just bad writing. She played the part excellent.
I'm not.
Like, Daisy really played the part excellent. You can't say that she didn't.
I didn't say anything about the acting. I said the character.
Yeah, that's right. You did say the character. And the character wasn't that bad. It was just Luke Skywalker all over again.
It was not
They made a female Luke Skywalker. That's all they did. So the story was not that much different. It still was a good story. It just wasn't what we wanted. You just basically told us the story again with a different character. And it just made it like, well, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Right.
And then at the end, what happens? Palpatine dies. Okay, we seen this already. We seen the person in the desert that gets took in and becomes a Jedi and fights all the way up and then kills Palpatine at the end. We seen that in the original trilogy. You just gave it to us again and just reordered some shit. Yep. We seen this already. You know what I'm saying? And that's what made it bad. The overall conception of what they did made it bad. But the characters themselves, Poe was a good character. Rey was not a bad character. It was just a female like Luke Skywalker. The only thing that made Rey really bad is, bitch, you've been using the Force for 3 seconds and you lifting up giant boulders and flying and doing all kind of shit. They're like, Yoda couldn't even do shit. What the hell you talking? You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was a Jedi for 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? So it was just the way they put it together that made it bad. The story was a story that was already told, so it was just like, duh, we already know what's going to happen. There's nothing really here. You took a beloved character and made him look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's where they ruined it at. But the character, Rey's character was, it was just Luke Skywalker all over again. You know what I'm saying? That we basically just got the original trilogy remade, and they just put in new shit and took out some shit. But that was all it was. Because you got to think about it. Luke Skywalker basically Ben. You know what I'm saying? This dude's lying, and he's not the same Obi-Wan that we seen from the prequels. You know what I'm saying? Even though we seen the originals first, but you know, he had that I failed type of attitude. You know, I failed. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't good enough, and I wasn't able to do what I was supposed to do. And you know what I'm saying? And then that's the same exact way that Luke acted in 8. You know, oh, I failed, so I had to go hide and blah, 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 blah. It's the same story. That's all Disney did. Why? Basically, Disney took on a model that a lot of movie makers use is, if it works, just do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Which is trash.
And which is, that they don't understand. It's like The Matrix. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like movies like that are completely different. There's a whole new story. Quentin Tarantino movies, a whole new story, even though it's a bunch of different stories parts that he took out of other movies to make his movie. You know what I'm saying? Because he says it in all of his interviews. He's like, dude, I watch a movie and I like this part and I use it. I'm not stealing it. I use it. I just change it around to where it fits my movie.
And he,
you know what I'm saying?
He makes something completely new.
But he makes something that's completely different than what everybody else is making, even though he took ideas. And that's basically where they go off that fundamental thing is, this already worked, so just keep doing the same thing over and over again. There's a reason that all the Disney princess movies are freaking great. They're all exactly the same. They use the same exact model on every single one of them. And Disney's gonna continue to use that model because it works. But at the same time, they took a risk with Andor, and Andor turned out great because it's not something that we've seen in Disney. You know, we don't see that in Disney. We just don't. When they made Rogue One, they took a different thing. Rogue One, they took that same model for Solo, and that's why Solo didn't do as good. You know what I'm saying? Solo didn't do it good because it's the same Disney princess model. That's how they did Solo. And that's why it didn't do as good, because that's not what Star Wars is about. You need to use the Star. The sequel trilogy did good. One, because we were all been waiting years for Star Wars to come out again, so it was a big hype about what was going to go on. But then they used the same model, and it still worked. It just, us older Star Wars fans and people that's been in Star Wars for a longer period of time that knows what Star Wars is, it was like we was watching the same thing over again. Like, why did you just make the original trilogy over again? Like, we didn't want to see, we wanted to see something new. You gave us new characters, but it's the same storyline. And that's kind of what we want. And that's why I said I have high hopes for the new Star Wars movies coming out, because they're trying new things. They got an open platform on this. You're going back to do Dawn of the Jedi. You don't have to do the book. But even if you did, if you just follow the book, it's going to be a great movie because the book was great. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that we haven't seen before.
I hope so. I really hope so.
The Mando movie, the movie that Dave is working on, you're taking everything that you guys have been building up and ramming it all into one thing, which is scary because it's a lot of shit, a lot of different characters you have to cover in this short amount of time. But there's an open slate because we don't know what happened. We don't know how all these people came together. Is Mando gonna die? Is, you know what I'm saying, Ahsoka gonna die? Is Luke gonna die? You know what I'm saying? Well, we know Luke doesn't die because he's in the thing. But we're leading up to Ben and the First Order and all of this stuff. So there's like a very broad spectrum of shit that could happen. And then the other movie that they're doing, what is the other movie that they're doing supposed to be based on? I know the one's based on, Dave's movie is based on all the stuff coming together.
Yeah, and then another one's like Dawn of the Jedi.
And then Dawn of the Jedi, which is the beginning. What's the other one supposed to be about? I forgot. My brain ain't working right now. I completely spaced it out.
I don't know.
I was just reading an article.
I didn't think we knew.
Yeah, no, they gave some stuff on it. What the hell is the new
Rogue Squadron?
Oh no, the Rey movie. That's what it's the new movie.
Oh,
about
the
Rey.
Rey movie. Yeah, we just talked about
they got an open slate. They have an open slate because she could do anything. The First Order is gone. Palpatine's dead. She could do anything. Like she could, like I said, she could go out and be just a single gray Jedi that's just going around the galaxy helping people and just, you know what I'm saying? She could start a new Jedi Order. You know what I'm saying? It's more based on the gray Jedi code and being of, you know what I'm saying, the balance again, which would coincide with, you know what I'm saying, Dawn of the Jedi. Say she's on an adventure and she finds a holocron or not a holocron, where I get holocron from. Yeah, a holocron. Or she found a book or something that talked about the original Jedi and she's basing the new Jedi order. There's just
saying,
all
like,
kind of different things that they could do because it's an open slate.
Well, who's the bad guy gonna be?
It could be anybody.
Like,
they don't have
you
to bring
have
it.
no
It could be a brand new
stakes.
bad guy.
I know, but like all the Sith are gone. I just feel like you have no stakes. You like, I don't know.
All the Sith are never gone. It's like all the Jedi are never gone. There's always somebody that can use the Force. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has midichlorians in it. So they can bring a whole new character in as a bad guy. And if they write him good, he could be a great fucking bad guy.
It's just, for me, it's just hard to believe. Because usually in Star Wars, the bad guy's always been like, you know, it was the Empire, this big thing. What's Rey going to fight? Are you telling me another Empire came around in secret again? Like, are we this stupid?
Well, you think about it, like, it could be like the Yuzhong Bong could come. You know what I'm saying? Instead of Luke and all them, it's Rey the one that has to fight them off.
I can see that.
It could be something like that. There's a lot of story out there, and they could create a whole new freaking, somebody came from another galaxy, like the Yuzhong Bong.
I guess I'm just upset they did my boy Luke so dirty.
I mean, yeah, but there's just so many opportunities. There's just so many different things that it's an open slate. They have a completely open, because we don't know anything past there. There's nothing written or nothing talked about past that point of Rey killing Palpatine. So whatever they decide, well, because there's some comic book stuff and there's, you know what I'm saying, a couple books is after that, but it's technically an open slate. They can do whatever they want. And that's what's exciting to me because we don't know much about after that. So without knowing much after that, they can do anything they want. And it's completely new. You know what I'm saying? It's completely and utterly new. Whatever they do. Hopefully they do something new because they could go like, oh, the Empire Returners and this fucking guy showed up and, you know what I'm saying, you know, some fucking guy that was lost 1,000 years ago, frozen in a heap of Hoth, escapes and he's the new Sith. I mean, you know, they could do something like that. But I think that they're going to take a whole new outlook on the Rey movie and redefine what Star Wars is after Palpatine was defeated by Rey. Yeah. I think they're going to go in a whole different direction, and it's going to open up a whole new door to Star Wars. It's going to bring off, there are going to be a lot of offshoot things that they can do with it. I think that they're trying to recreate Star Wars in a way that is going to be benefit, because right now, other than Andor and Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, because we don't know how Ahsoka is going to be yet, these are all projects that were done, and I think that they're gonna, you know, they got to utilize this, and they see that creating new things, and I hope Bob Iger sees this, that creating new things like Mando and Andor and going on a different direction is what the fans truly want.
So with
and
good
I'm excited
writing,
to see
with good writing.
Well, I don't know what did the strike ever end? I know I asked this last week. Did the strike ever end, or is the writer's strike over?
Dude, I have no idea.
I hope Disney fired all their writers and got new writers. Like, because, well, Tim's coming in. You know, Tim, they said that Tim is going to help with Dawn of the Jedi. He's sitting in as a consultant on Dawn of the Jedi, and he wrote the book. And that book is amazing. So if he, maybe not writing the script, but if he's just there to consult and just tell them, hey, that's not how it goes, you know, you should do this. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. And you got to also understand, a lot of the writers that we have now are young, and these writers that are young, they're taught how to write, you know what I'm saying, in school, and they're told to follow the fundamentals. Even in like directing and stuff, if you set back, like there's like rules, and you got to follow these rules. And that's what makes Quentin Tarantino so good, is because he doesn't follow the rules. He does shit. It might be the same plot point, or it might be some, you know, like a movie that would be, you know what I'm saying, that he's took bits and pieces from other movies, but he doesn't, like, he fucking completely obliterates the 180-degree rule. Like he does it all the time. He jumps around and it causes confusion. It causes you to be like, "What the hell is going on? What the hell just happened?" But his dialogue is what keeps you intrigued, because he has some of the best dialogue that there is. And so it's just hopefully they come in and say like, throw the playbook out and just come out with all new content and take a chance. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it's still exciting that we're going to get brand new Star Wars content, not remakes, not brand new Star Wars content, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is not brand new Star Wars content. We've had this character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Boba Fett. Y'all came in and you tried to change the characters, and that's what made them bad. You tried to make the character somebody that they wasn't want. You didn't go back and do your research. You just came in and tried to write a whole new character based on a character that is already created. But starting from fresh start, we know who Rey kind of is, but we were left at a point. I'm Rey Skywalker and a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah, she's still finding herself. So I feel like
what I'm saying. So it could go anywhere. So I have high hopes. I ain't gonna lie, I have high hopes because
plus she's a character that Disney created. Disney will not ruin their own character. They're okay with ruining others' characters
because the last season of Mando wasn't the greatest,
But they didn't ruin Mando. They didn't ruin the character Mando.
Nah, they didn't.
They just ruined the show.
They just ruined the season. But
but they won't.
You got to have a bad season to have a great season.
What I mean is they won't purposely ruin a character like they did Obi-Wan or like they did fucking Luke Skywalker or Boba Fett. Exactly.
They ruined George's characters. I think they intentionally ruined George's characters because they're like, "Fuck you, George. We robbed Star Wars for you for $4 billion," because Star Wars is worth like 100 gazillion now. Like it's worth so much. I don't know. It's just going to be Grand Moff Gideon's Sith clone, Mace Windu. Like I'm sorry, I'm down for Mace to come back. I would like to see a jacked up Mace that fell 3 million stories and survived, and half his face is missing, like on the YouTube short, and he's blind in one eye, and you know what I'm saying. But now he don't give a shit. Like,
but he's gonna be bad.
Mace Windu. No, he's not bad. He's still a Jedi. He just don't give a shit no more. He done gave in more to the dark side, but he's still fighting for the right cause type shit. I would love to see that.
I feel like that was Mace Windu already. Because he
kind of was, but now just up it about 10 times. up his intensity about 10 times. I would love to see that. That would be dope as shit.
Motherfucker.
Just whacking down, like not even playing, just cut your head off type shit. Like, yeah, that's what I want to see right there. But we also got to remember that it's never going to be, like even in Andor, like the violence was there, but it was insinuated violence. We didn't see it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? And because Disney's not going to go rated R. I don't think Disney's going to go rated R. No. They're never going to go to complete adult content. I don't think that they're going to do it. It goes against the moral the moral fundamentals of what Disney is.
Right. And until then, I will dream about
it's crazy because they made Marvel and freaking Thor shoves an axe in freaking what's his face's chest. Yeah. Like, but we can't see a dude get shot in the face. Like, what is that? Like, he put an axe in what's his face's. What the hell is that dude's name? Why can't I think of his name? What is the bad guy? Thanos. Right in his damn chest. Like, and he said, "You should have cut my head off." Actually, he does cut his head off in the next movie. We get to see him cut his head off. So why don't we get to see this shit in freaking Disney, like on Star Wars? Like, maybe because none of the Star Wars has ever been rated R, and maybe George signed it in, like, don't ever make rated R shit. This shit should be for kids, too. Might be something in a clause or something.
I can totally get that, yeah. But the thing is, you don't have to make it rated R to make it dark and serious. Look at The Dark Knight. It's a perfect example.
Look at Andor. Andor was pretty dark. And
Andor
they didn't ever really show us anything like the dude getting shot in the face in the very first episode. Like, they cut away. But it insinuated,
like, as much as I
it made your imagination. It made your imagination see it.
Right. As much as I would love to see
was perfect.
As much as I would love to see a rated R Star Wars, I'm not going to be like upset because you can write well without making it rated R.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a thing. I mean, and like some of the books, I would say them shits is rated R, even maybe even a little bit rated X in some of the books. And even in the new High Republic books, there's some pretty dark shit in there. But you know what I'm saying? They don't really they classify it as young adult or teen. So I mean, there's some stuff you can do. You can definitely insinuate some dark shit without coming full dark side, you know what I'm saying? Not without going all the way rated R, you know, like they insinuated in Andor that we know that what's her face and that dude has sex, but you know it's insinuated, but they didn't show it. But I could imagine because I was like, shit, I wish I was him right now, because she hot. But you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that can definitely be a it's definitely. You know what I'm saying? They could do some. I think that Disney, since we're on Jedi and Sith, you know, changing their philosophy. I think that Disney is changing their philosophy because they're seeing. I think a lot of this beginning shit that they've thrown out has been just let's throw shit at the wall, see what sticks, see what people are liking, see what people are not liking, and then we'll start making things based on the things that we see that they like and dislike. You gotta think, man. They literally killed off they just ruined three good characters, and I don't think they did it intentionally. I think they did it for the fact of like, what will people think about it? Let's throw some stuff out there and see what people think. Because you see, Kenobi and Boba Fett, it was almost I don't know because they made them so bad that like there's not even the second season's coming out of neither one of those. Like there's no second season is coming out. So, you know what I'm saying? Because they just ruined it. Which they need to do another Obi-Wan Kenobi second season because now they got to fix why the hell Leia don't remember Obi-Wan. You know what I'm saying? They got to fix that shit because that shit pissed me off. But I don't think that it's going to happen. I don't think it got the reviews that they think. I think, like, literally, I kind of believe they're just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. And, you know, so I think we're going to get more stuff like Andor. We're going to get more stuff like, you know, Mandalorian. You know, I'm pretty sure Ahsoka is going to be good because I can't believe in my mind that Dave wrote bad shit for his character. I don't think he did it. So I think Ahsoka is going to be good. We'll have to see what Skeleton Crew is about. I don't know, Skeleton Crew, just reading over the shit about Skeleton Crew, it seems like Skeleton Crew is going to be pretty dark. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of kids lost in space and some fucking weird pedophile Jedi saving them and shit. You know what I'm saying?
What? Where did pedophile come in?
I don't know. It just popped in my head, so I said it. I don't know. There's not too much about what Jude Law's character is. He's like some rogue fucking Jedi, or if he's, I think I read one thing that said he was a Jedi, another thing said he was like more like a Han Solo character, and he finds these kids and he got to help them get home. You know what I'm saying? So We don't know how Skeleton Crew is going to be, but you know, hopefully, like everybody said it's going to be like even Jude Law said it's more of a darker theme. So.
I'm just kind of, I don't know. I've never been interested in that Stranger Things bunch of kids vibe. So I don't know.
It might be good though.
I know. I'm just, they're fighting an uphill battle.
I'm sorry. I mean, it just kind of depends on what it is because like, not, what is it? Not the originals, the one before the originals, TV series, the vampire one.
What?
What the hell's the name of that? So you had it was a vampire show, and then Originals was the second part to it.
Oh, Vampire Diaries?
Yeah, Vampire Diaries. I like the Vampire Diaries, and it was about a bunch of fucking teenagers and shit. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good show. Yeah, it wasn't bad. So
learning new things about you, Carl.
I don't know. I watched all of it. Only reason I watched it, and to be honest, is because I watched the Originals, and I was like, the Originals is dope as shit. That the Originals was dope.
I never watched any of it.
Dude, watch the Originals. If you watch the Originals, you'll fucking... Klaus is a motherfucker, boy. That dude is a motherfucker. So I went back because I wanted to know what happened prior to that, and I didn't know that it was a sequel to the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
Or it was the, I kind of watched it like Star Wars. I watched the originals first, and then I went back and watched Vampire Diaries because I wanted to figure out how it got to this point. And I wasn't disappointed. Like, I watched the whole fucking thing, and I was like, dude, this is not that bad. Like, I heard people say it was really bad, and I heard people say it was good. Both my daughters was like, they loved it, so I didn't think I was going to like it, because I'm like, it's like teenage fucking teeny bopper fucking shit. But it wasn't that bad. There was some dark shit in there, and some fucking, like, there was fine girls. I mean, you can't go wrong with fine women and people getting killed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Fine women and people getting killed. That's all Kyle needs to be happy.
But it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. And I watched it with my wife. We watched all of them. The one I couldn't really get into was Legacy. Like, I couldn't watch Legacy. That's one with Klaus's daughter. That was the last one. And I was like, dude, this shit is just stupid. Like, this bitch is like fucking super fucking dope. And like, I couldn't get into it. The whole freaking weird ass monster shit. Monsters coming from everywhere. I couldn't get into that one. I mean, I watched all of them just because I had to find out what happened to the end. But I didn't really like it that much. But originals is dope as fuck. The Vampire Diaries was okay. It wasn't bad. And then the fucking Legacy, the last part, that shit was fucking terrible. Like, what the fuck is this? What the hell is this monster? They got dragons and shit. This bitch is fighting dragons and shit. What the fuck is going on?
Went off the deep end.
Vampire werewolf hybrid bitch fighting dragons and shit. What the fuck? Come on now.
Got a little carried away.
The bitch is fighting gods and shit. Like, dude, this is stupid. But the rest of, like, the Vampire Diaries and originals, I'll tell anybody, if you want to watch a good series, them two, especially the originals is dope than a motherfucker.
I didn't take you for chick flicks, Kyle. That's crazy.
Hey, shit. I like Twilight, the last one. The last 10 minutes.
That's true. I still feel like that last 10 minutes was like, to all the boyfriends who have been dragged by your girlfriends, this is for you.
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole fucking thing. The battle, that shit was fucking great.
Because that's not even in the book either.
I read the books. I listened to the books at work.
Right.
I listened to all the books.
And that's not even, that part wasn't even in the book. So it was like, we're going to give this to all the boyfriends that got dragged here by their girlfriends. We appreciate you. This goes out to you. You know what I mean?
I also listened to the Anne Rice, the whole interview with the vampire fucking series. I listened to all them motherfuckers, and that bitch got a gang of books. There's a gang of them motherfucking books. I listened to all them motherfuckers. Because after I got done with Star Wars, I was like, damn, what the hell? I listened to every Star Wars book. You know what I'm saying? What am I going to listen to now? So I watched Interview with the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire is a good movie. And I watched that, and I was like, dude, this shit is crazy. And then I found out it was based on Anne Rice's book, and then I went back and listened to all the Anne Rice vampire books, and then I watched the witches or whatever. I listened to all the witches books, and they were all pretty good books. Now, I don't know if I'd fucking go watch the movies, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if, like, they came out with more movies, I'd go watch them. Like, I tried to watch the Interview with the Vampire TV series, and like I'm sitting there watching like an hour in, two dudes is humping, and I was like, I ain't watching this shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they floating in the air, having sex. Oh, I can't watch this shit. I ain't watched this since. But, you know what I'm saying? I try to give things a chance. I'm one of those people that I'll try to give things a chance. You know what I'm saying? I literally... The only movie that I didn't ever give a chance in was Brokeback Mountain. I've never seen that. I don't have no intention of watching that shit. Like, I don't want to see that shit. Like, two cowboys fucking each other.
Yeah, not my thing.
And I'm not homophobic. I don't have nothing against gay people. It's just not something that I want to watch. You know what I'm saying? That's not my cup of tea. But, you know, it was just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking it's going to be like Interview with the Vampire, the movie. And the movie was fucking great. You know what I'm saying? The movie was excellent. That fucking movie is a fucking great movie. And they had great actors with, you know, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and, you know, they did an excellent job, and Antonio Banderas and all them. They did an excellent job on that movie. And it's really close to the book. But it was just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those movies, I watched it once. I know it's a good movie. I don't think I've ever watched it again. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I always try to give things a chance, because if somebody tells me something's good. But I also am the type of person, when I watch a movie, I'm looking not just for I'm looking for story. I'm looking for, you know, different, like, if they use green screens, if it, you know, audio.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes.
I look for at all these
movie.
different things because I'm always trying to learn. How did they use a camera angle on a certain thing? And I'm always trying to figure out how did they do something. I guess that's just me wanting to be a filmmaker, part time in the back of my head. I want to make movies, so I always try to figure out how people did things. Like, okay, did they use a crane right here? Did they use a dolly? Why did they use a wide shot right here instead of a close up when it was more of a intimate moment?
There's so much that goes into movies that it's
I don't limit myself to like Twilight. That shit was the poorest shot, ugliest, fucking grayish. The fucking color grading on that shit was terrible. It was fucking just, oh my God, it was just fucking, but it was one of those things. I have daughters and I have a wife, so I have to watch that shit. And I was happy at the fight scene at the end where the werewolves was ripping off the vampires' heads, and the vampires was fighting each other, and everybody was using all their special skills and shit. I was like, yeah, this made it all worth it. Oh, and then they fucked you over when you find out it didn't even really happen.
None of it was real.
None of it was true. Like, oh, this bullshit. I fucking hate the series. But you know what I'm saying? I do Star Wars. When I'm watching Star Wars, I'm looking for fundamental keys. I look for all those things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Book of Boba Fett, just freaking, the CGI and all that shit was excellent. It just wasn't no story. Then you go to Kenobi. Kenobi, the story wasn't bad. It was just, the pacing was way off.
No, the story was,
the story wasn't even that bad. Because you could see him going through them things. You could see him, the stuff happening to him. It was just the
majority
pacing.
of the show. No, majority of the show wasn't even about that. Majority of the show was about this random girl who hates Anakin, so she wants to get revenge. So then she wants to kill his son, and like,
yeah, but
that was crap.
The problem that I couldn't, the camera shake, that ruined the whole thing, and the pacing. Like, when you actually go back and, like, to the dude that fucking fixed it, that cut it up and made it into a 2-hour movie, that shit ain't that bad. Like, dude, literally, I can watch that shit. I can watch that shit over and over again. It's way better. But just watching that freaking, I can't watch Kenobi over again. The camera shake, the fucking dialogue is just stupid. The fucking Leia meeting Obi-Wan, and we know for a fact she didn't, just ruin it.
Okay, then. So,
like, it was just, there was a lot of things that just made it where it wasn't good. But, I mean, the biggest thing was the pacing and the camera shake. Them two things just fucked me up. Like, dude, this shit is so boring. Like, why is it so fucking boring, man? Like, dude, you got to speed this up. You got to make it better. But they tried to take a 2-hour-long movie and they tried to make it into a 6-part series. So they extended a bunch of shit out. And that's what happens when you do that. Because you got to remember, this was originally filmed. The original script was for a 2-hour-long movie. It wasn't, and then they extended it out and made it into a series. And that's what, and then, I don't know what Deborah Chow's fucking thing was with the camera shake, and like, it just was at the wrong times. They was trying to make it seem more intense than it actually was, more exciting. You shaking the camera when they shouldn't be shaking it, not going to do that. There's a certain reason there's camera shake in certain scenes, because it's an action scene. It's chaotic, so the camera's shaking to show the chaoticness. When two people are just standing there and the camera's shaking, you thinking that the fucking camera guy got Tourette's. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on here? But, Clint says Jedi Survivor is how they should make it. He cuts people's heads off. Yeah. It's crazy that the fucking video game is more violent than the fucking movies they put out. But there's a lot of...
I still wish the lightsabers in the video game were like realistic, though, where they would like cut through them. But that's okay.
But there's a lot of different things that I think there's a lot of different. I truly believe, and this is what I'm choosing to believe, because I'm just so hopeful that Disney and Bob Iger, with Bob Iger coming back and Disney being like, okay, we got to do something because we're not making no money. So y'all need to come out with some shit that's going to wow the shit out of everybody. And they push for that. I really hope that that's where they go. But, okay, we've been on the subject. We've been talking about this for a minute. We should get to some news and rumors.
News and rumors. All right, let's do it. Let me drop the...
This is Alton Castle for the only news you need. The
HoloNet News.
Okay. There's been some announcements about the up-and-coming Jedi origin movie, Dawn of the Jedi. So we know that it's set 25,000 years before the beginning of A New Hope, which is about the same timeline as Dawn of the Jedi book. The Dawn of the Jedi book, I think, is 24,823 BBY. It's about the first Jedi to wield the Force. And it's been described as biblically epic, taking inspiration from Hollywood classics like Ben-Hur. So I think it's going to be more, it's not going to be super high CGI, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that that's what they're kind of meaning here, that they're going to break it back down. It's going to be more like Gladiator and movies like that. You know, something that's more realistic where, you know, you got to figure out at this point, they can't even fly out of the system that they're in. They can't, at this point, they're in, what's the name of that fucking planet? I can't think about it. I can't think of wherever Ashland and Bogan is at. They just at this, you know, they're still using swords. They don't have lightsabers yet, and it's going to be more like Gladiator. You know, the Jedi are out, you know, trying to stop, you know, simple things like people from making black holes and shit like that. Like the more based off the book. So it's going to be a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be more story driven and more of something that we haven't ever seen before. One of the reasons that I'm kind of excited about the way that the thing goes. James Mangold shares some of the first story details for his up-and-coming Dawn of the Jedi movie. He says, speaking with Gizmodo, Mangold said the Star Wars project will not necessarily be about the origins of the Jedi, but about the first people to feel and utilize the power of the Force. So it's not so much going to be like it's going to be them coming in before the Jedi was ever even. That's why it's set a couple hundred years before Dawn of the Jedi, the actual Dawn of the Jedi. Because Dawn of the Jedi, there's already a Jedi Order set up. They already got like a council and shit. When you go into the book, it's explained differently, but it's basically the same thing. But it's going to be them coming into the ability to know, okay, I can move shit and I can do stuff. Let's use these powers to help people type fucking thing. He said, well, I talked to Lucasfilms before we ever worked a bit before on other projects, and I'm always interested in what's going on there and have friends who have worked on other Star Wars projects, but I understood how much of what they are doing was kind of continuing the saga forward. He said, so when I mentioned to Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm's president, the idea, I was going backwards, really far backwards. I was surprised that it excited her and the other wonderful people that she worked with at Lucasfilms. So, you know, going back, I think is a good concept. You know, I think, and him wanting to start off with people learning about the Force, not so much about the Jedi. It's like people learning about the Force and wanting to help other people.
Right.
Go ahead.
So obviously we've all seen, for the video game fans out there, real quick, we've probably all seen the Star Wars Outlaws trailer at this point, and finally heard more about it, more details. We now know that you're going to be playing as kind of like this scoundrel throughout the galaxy, doing high stakes missions, high stakes robbery, stuff like that. Almost like a GTA, but in Star Wars universe. Personally, I'm kind of disappointed just because before, with the stuff we were hearing, it was very, at least from my understanding, it was you were going to get to create your own character, and that's obviously not the case anymore. And it seems like you're not really going to be choosing your journey as much as we were led to believe at first. I was really excited about creating my own character from scratch, and now it seems like that's not at all. You're going to be stuck playing this specific character, K-Vess, which I don't know. Maybe that's going to be a good thing. Maybe it's not. I prefer to kind of create my own character and play as play as a guy at least because I'm a guy, but I guess we'll see. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but it still looks like it could be really fun. I'm excited for an open world Star Wars. I just wish I could have made my own character and not being stuck playing as a character I don't know and don't really care about. So maybe that's bad. I don't know. What do you think, Kyle? I know you're not really on the game front, but I don't really like playing as a girl in a video game.
I mean, the idea of it.
I
being,
really
like,
like
I've
the idea
seen
of creating
people,
my own character.
you know, like seeing people playing GTA and, you know, watching my son play GTA and stuff like that, for it to be kind of based like from what little bit of stuff I read about it, you know, being more on that format where you have like certain goals that you have to achieve and you got to rob certain people and you have certain, you know, whatever it's called. Seems like it's interesting, but at the same time, I think you know, for the way that they described it at first, it's going to kind of disappoint a lot of fans because they described it as more of a, you know what I'm saying, like create your own character. You could be a Jedi, go out here and do Jedi battles and go fight
Right.
Sith and go all around the galaxy and do what you
And
wanted to do.
all of that flexibility and freedom has kind of seemed to be taken away.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I think it, you know, and
It's like kind of a huge
and it's
letdown.
another, and you know
Right,
how I feel about video games
how they were
anyway.
advertising it was like you create your own character and you get to choose to be a Jedi or a Sith or Force user or whatever, and you get to just totally do whatever you want. And now it's like, nah, you're stuck as playing this K-Vest chick who, yeah,
I don't know. It just didn't seem as appealing to me. Which I'm not
at
like
all.
a big video game person, but you know,
It's
as,
kind of a huge letdown.
yeah, it just kind of seemed disappointing from what it was led to believe in the first place.
Yeah.
John Boyega joined TikTok, and there's actually several posts about this, so I have a feeling that John Boyega is going to be coming back as Finn in the new movie because, you know, basically they did the same thing with Daisy Ridley. All of a sudden, you know, a bunch of stuff was popping up about her, and then she has a new movie coming out. And I have a feeling that Finn's coming back because now a bunch of stuff is popping up about John Boyega. Like, who cares if John Boyega joined TikTok? You know what I'm saying? Like why is that even news? You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't already a part of TikTok? Like, he just, like, I didn't even know he wasn't a part of TikTok. So for them just to put this out is kind of, and some of the other articles that they've been putting out about John Boyega, it just leads me to believe that he's going to probably be in the new movie. It's just one of those things. Whenever a certain character starts popping up a lot in the news, it's just real funny that we see them having a new part in another movie. There was one other thing that I had, and I actually closed it.
Andor. I have an Andor thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an interview with Skarsgård, the guy who plays the double agent.
Yeah.
What's his name? You know what I'm talking about, right? So Skarsgård, and he kind of talked about part of the reasons he joined. He joined one because, I mean, Gilroy's an amazing writer. That's one of the reasons he was accepted the role in the first place. Obviously, he spoke very highly of Diego Luna, how he was a great actor, takes it seriously. And then he also said, so basically, Tony Gilroy is part of the writer's strike, and he hasn't been too present in a lot of the filming. He wrote the script and then was gone for the writer's strike. And so they asked him, like, how is that going to affect the show? And according to Skarsgård, he says it's still going to be good, that he was able to write the script, and it's still going to be okay. But, I mean, I'm still a little bit worried because I think a lot of the success does come from Tony Gilroy's writing. So him being on strike and not being there for the actual filming is a bit of a concern. Skarsgård said it'll be okay, but I guess we'll see when it comes out in August. Or I guess next August.
Yeah. Long time between fucking season 1 and season 2.
Definitely.
That shit's
Very long
disappointing.
time.
It was also announced that, and we kind of already knew this, but there's 4 villains in the Ahsoka series. We have, of course, Grand Admiral Thrawn. We have Morgan Elizabeth is going to be making a reappearance. Then we have Balin Scroll, which is, was played by the late, great Ray Stevens. But the thing that gets me is how they described him in his character. So he is described as a stoic lethality in that there's a purpose to him. He is not genocidal or malicious or even or overly aggressive. He will request that you move out of his way, but if you don't, he will take you out of his way. So I have a feeling that he's going to be kind of like a Count Dooku type character. Count Dooku would talk to you, and then before it ever came to the fighting part, it was always a talk first.
But he's willing to fight, kind of thing.
But he's still willing to fight. And then the girl Shinhati, I guess that's how you say her name. She's basically his apprentice. And I guess at Celebration there was like a crossing her lightsaber with Ahsoka, and technically Ezra Bridger as seen at Celebration. So I guess at some point in Celebration, I don't remember seeing it in the footage that I watched, which I didn't watch at all. But I guess Ezra and her clash blades in the thing. So we will. That'll be nice. So we have a couple of these, sounds to be some good characters in there. Morgan Elizabeth played a great part in Mando. She played a good bad guy, and she definitely handled her own against Ahsoka for the time being, with the spear. So I think that she will. I think she'll play a great part, and of course we're going to get Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I think that's going to be phenomenal, because Thrawn is one of my favorite bad guys in
True.
In Star Wars. I like the way he uses I like his tactician, the way he uses his technicality, or the way he uses to be able to look at paintings and being able to conquer an entire race. I think that's fascinating, because I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can look at one painter's or one artist's artwork on a whole planet and be able to conquer the planet based on this one thing. You know what I'm saying? But, I've always liked Thrawn. I liked him as a character in the books. I liked him as a character in Rebels. So I think it's gonna. I got high hopes for Ahsoka. But that's all the news I had. It wasn't really.
Yeah.
It wasn't overly out there with news today.
No, I mean, the biggest news for me was the Ubisoft game. I'm just kind of bummed about it, man.
Yeah, there was. I mean, a lot of this stuff, like, that it's just. Disney sets a date for the new Star Wars, but that's been all over Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. So it's kind of like, a lot of this stuff is stuff that we've all seen. It's not there wasn't no big news that came out that really. The Rey movie, I guess, is getting a pushback date. That's kind of big news. I hadn't seen anything about that till today.
I don't know. I just think with the Ubisoft game, especially. Sorry, I know you're not into games.
No, you're good.
But Ubisoft has made a bunch of games where you can choose to play as either a guy or a girl character, and you have customization over that character. The last 2 Assassin's Creeds were like that. You know what I mean? And now, part of what was so exciting about this Star Wars game was the ability that you could create your character, and it was going to be new and exciting. And it just seems like that's not the case.
And it was supposed to be completely open world, right?
Yeah,
it's still going to be that, but
it's still going to be open world, but you have no control over who you are and your character.
So it's kind of like, what I'm saying, more like, what's the one game where you steal the cars and do all that shit?
That's what it's seeming like, just because you're going to be doing
What's the name of that game? Grand Theft Auto?
GTA? Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. That's what it's kind of seeming like. So,
why is when they come out with games, it's always you're a bad guy, like Star Wars Outlaws, you're a freaking
I don't think
He's
it's a bad guy.
smuggling.
I think you can kind of choose. It's like I think you're going to be kind of a Han Solo-ish character,
Oh,
and
okay.
from what I'm reading, you can still kind of choose to be kind of like a more good outlaw or a more bad outlaw.
Okay.
It just seems very much like almost a GTA or Red Dead Redemption set in a Star Wars universe, which would
I
be
wonder why
cool.
they.
Just let me make my character.
What was that? What was the one game that we did the video on that never came out or not coming out? That looked super dope. That they did the great graphics on.
Oh yeah, the one.
What was that game? Because that game's still coming out. Because that fucking
I
trailer
don't
was
know.
awesome. What's the name of that shit?
Yeah, it was. I don't exactly
What's the name?
remember.
We did a whole video on
I
that
know
shit.
it was flipping dope. Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse. Like, what happened to that game? Did that shit get canceled?
Well, obviously they had problem with one of the like managers. So like they said it's still supposed to come out, but who flipping knows at this point.
Let me see if there's anything in. Yeah, it says it's still coming out. It's supposed to be released in 2026.
Yeah,
Is that
so we'll
Oh,
see.
that's movie release date. I'm sorry.
Probably won't happen until like 2025, if I'm honest. Because things definitely
Shit,
got.
there ain't no
I mean,
news about
you
this
can't
shit.
you can't say it got delayed because they never gave us a window. But I'm assuming that things are going to be delayed.
Star Wars Eclipse trailer, continuing, blah, 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 blah. Quantum Dream, blah, 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 blah. When did this come out? The last news thing that was even released about this was October 12th of 2022.
Yeah. So, I mean, who fucking knows at this point?
Like, that was the last one. Yeah, that was the last one. That shit 6 months ago was the last time that a Star Wars. So Screen Rant put out something December of 2022. That was the last one that came out. Anything that has to do with Star Wars Eclipse. It just says Star Wars Eclipse is shrouded in mystery. Yeah, shit ain't ever coming out. That was a dope trailer though. Probably one of the dopest video game trailers in the history of time. But I doubt that shit is ever coming out. Nobody's even talking about it. It's been 6 months. Well, guys, like I said earlier in the game or earlier in the show that I don't have a quiz for today. Just been really busy. I have one next week. There'll be one ready for everybody next week. Hopefully, CJ and Tori will be here because it's not as much fun when it's just me and Garrison anyway.
Right.
But I think that's all we have for today.
I think so too.
We will catch up with you guys next Saturday, unless something really super exciting comes out and we have to do a special episode.
They released the game early or something.
Yeah. Or,
if we get an Eclipse trailer, we'll have a midweek episode.
Yeah, we'll freaking do a midweek episode sometime. And just we'll keep you guys updated on if we're gonna come out with the movie thing. We're gonna talk about it some more and get that all hashed out and see how we can do it and see what'll be a viable time and everything. So we'll let you guys know more information on that. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you guys on Saturday.
Peace. And may the force be with you.
Stay outrageous.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by PicFilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.